Are we good to go, Mark?
Yes, let's go. Let's get started.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. We are excited to actually give you some insights, but also most importantly, launch our AI readiness study. Now, let me set the scene. I will kick off today's webinar, which is all about AI readiness. It's not just the buzzword, it's critical for every company in today's modern tech landscape. Now, why? We will cover today what is important on the AI readiness side. We will go beyond the actual software departments, TEQ being a software company. We'll look about scalability, adaptability, security, compliance, everything that is on top of every tech leader's mind. If you're a tech leader, you may have the same challenges every day. You need to deliver faster, you deliver on a return on invest, you need to deliver stable and compliant tech landscape. But you probably are spending a lot of time on maintaining the landscape rather focusing on the new and the next. So this is why we are also looking at this AI readiness study, because it will tell you where do you stand compared to others in the market, and also how you could outperform the market. But let me share one more thing. This is actually, most companies aren't ready. So if you're not there yet today, you are not alone. So testing, developing, many new features, watching, waiting, that's very common. And we will look into that because 1% of the companies are already scaling fast. They're using AI at the core. They're using AI in workflows, but they're also creating measurable results and outperform competition by using it the right way. Now, the study today that we launched today together with you will help you to understand your gaps. Where do you have gaps in your organization compared to others? But it also gives you opinions and insights how you could scale up faster. Now, our goal is to help you to create or to make some of your dev teams faster, to make your tech landscape faster and smarter by the use of AI. I'm not alone here today, so I'm joined by Mark and by Erwin, and let me quickly introduce them. So Mark has been with us. He's our Chief Commercial Officer. He's taking about our revenues. He's taking about our go-to-market, but he is also bringing a lot of experience in when it comes to building an enterprise, scaling up an enterprise, and actually bringing those products to market. And Mark is also leading this study. He is actually shaping the benchmark, and he will share that with you today. Next to that, we also have Erwin with us. Erwin is holding our head of the go-to-market in the Benelux and Nordics countries. Erwin used to be a CTO. He brings experience in blockchain and in banking, and he knows what it means to be fast, to build reliable, but also secure infrastructure. And Erwin will tell you today a bit what is an auditable, secure infrastructure looking like, but specifically in regulated industries. And then we will actually come to the core, which is about the AI readiness score. We'll introduce the study. We'll show you first results that we have done throughout the pre-study that did run over the past 6 weeks. And we'll then also show you specifically how you can engage and how you can verify where you stand. And of course, if you participate to the study, you will also get all the insights, you will get all the guidance, because we are not doing this alone. We are working with established universities and enterprises to make it as holistic and as deep as possible. So with that, I would like to hand over to Mark to actually give you the insights of the pre-study and the tech shift on the market.
Yeah, thank you very much, Philip. So I will give a quick introduction of the pre-study, why we're doing this study. Then I'll hand over to Erwin, which gives an insight in regulated industries, how to move fast, but still being secure and compliant. And then in the end, I show you the kickoff of our smart benchmark, which becomes smarter for each survey respondent we have. And I'm really happy to share this very unique kind of benchmark study today. But first, let's dive into the pre-study. So the result, we are all going to get this report, at least when you sign up here for this webinar, which will be published later on after the data collection in about 3 months. So we have everything conducted with the focus of regulated industry, their software departments, how to grow faster, and with the specialty of security and compliance. So this is what it makes it special. It's a very focused report. It's a score to assess how fast you can build software, how fast you can operate, how smart you can operate. And it really conducts principles. It finds the principles, how to do it faster, how to do it better, that IT departments are moving and navigating in this very, let's say, buzzwordy space in AI. But first, I would like to give a quick introduction why we think it's a really challenging moment at the time. So we have really these theses that at the moment we are having so much change in IT that software will be rethought. So there is definitely something new, especially also because where failure isn't an option stands for the regulated industry. So sometimes in fintech or in aviation or in insurtech, there is really not an option if it fails, if the system breaks. So we have to be really carefully with the speed, where Erwin says also some more steps about it later. But as I said, the benchmark is going to be for tax executives in regulated industries in Europe, and the result is these 15 core principles. But before I dive into the pre-results, I also want to share why this is a unique moment. And the thesis is that we are writing the last generation of this traditional software. There is a lot more AI coming into IT departments. It's not only about auto-completing code or getting help with this documentation. It's also about a lot more features and possibilities where the developers are going to be augmented with little helpers. And to visualize this thesis, I did a research, what's current state in where we are, so what's currently shifting. And when you look at the models, there's several benchmarks out there which help IT departments to code more accurate, more fast. And when you look in the last few weeks, the release of Claude 3.7 Sonnet or Grok 3, they were really taking the benchmarks to a new level, and they showed like, wow, there's a huge step, which wasn't things which weren't possible a few weeks ago now came to a niveau, to a level that even senior developers have to say like, whoa, this is something which we definitely need to use, but with the cautious of the regulations, with the cautious of the security, which is much more important. Okay, these headlines, I don't have to go into all of them in detail, but what I want to point out is, yes, it is going to change. It's difficult to say what, and there is a lot of buzz about it. What we also say is that the models are getting much, much better. So in terms of the benchmark, they're all becoming very similar. This is the middle part here that shows that all the models are getting better in the coding capabilities, in the benchmarks like the last human exam or other coding benchmarks, specific ones. There is about 6 or 7 coding benchmarks out there to really see how well they do. And some people say like, yeah, but it's a bit artificial, you know already the code. Some other benchmarks are more realistic and more, let's say, practical. Anyhow, in addition, there is coming a lot of publications on AI readiness. So here is just a very short overview of the publications we see in German-speaking Europe and also rest of Europe. And to point out a few of one, a lot of them say like, hey, we still are stuck in maintenance. We still are stuck in our features to develop something, but not really having an impact. So a lot of the IT budget goes on maintenance. But there's also other studies which say like, hey, we are not coming over those piloting these AI use cases, so it's really tough to get to this. And to show a very practical example as well, is like we are also getting this overwhelming new tools every day to see, oh, what's now happening in the IT department. So when we look at the recent developments, there were tools like, let's say, Lovable, which I can show you in a second, where we have the situation that this application is the fastest growing company in Europe ever. It has about 15 employees only, and it publishes every day 25,000 software applications. So that's the fastest growing in terms of revenue. They have like 10 million done in 2 months. And that's just one example of something is happening on the market. To give you a little bit of an impression is, I did with this Lovable a quick prompt, and I'm telling this, hey, build me a simple interface in the style of linear app. It's like a modern Jira. And the goal is to have a product management planning, a product roadmap, and combine the backlog, do it for regulated industry, and also fill it with data. So I pointed out some core features. I said like a quick design I want, the user types I need, and that's it. So when I kick this off, the system is going to start and going to build the classes. So it's going to be really impressive what's happening in 5 minutes, what usually took about 5 months to do at least a prototype. The difference here is you can also deploy this code to GitHub. You can then take a database, which is all doable in a few clicks, and the prompts also the possibility to go for APIs. It's just a matter of seconds to start this off, which before was taking quite a few days. So we see this later on, what's the result. It's currently working. It takes about 5 minutes. But if I go back to these tools, my key message here is something is going to change. And so that's why we are in the progress of the preparation of this study. We are also trying to help navigating in this very crazy space where a lot of things happening. So also this situation with it's not about prototype or code generation and auto completion. It's also a little bit more about documentation, visualizing dependencies, bug fixing, improvement of the finding like the proper refactoring path, and a lot more. So there is definitely something moving. And so we tried to push everything together and help you. And before I show you the new study with the findings from the pre-study, I would like to hand over to Erwin. Just one more last sentence. Our pre-study revealed the main problems, the main challenges people have in software departments. So we see it's usually also about legacy code. It's about the features which are not really deployed really fast. It's about security, compliance challenges. It's about the skilled personnel shortage, and it's about the fear of losing good control, the fear of failure, because sometimes it's just overwhelming what's possible. And I'm sharing these recent studies just in a bit in the chat here that you can dive deeper in these numbers. But before I go over to show this model, how it learns and how there is the studies included, and it generates your personalized recommendation on where you stand on the AI Readiness Index, I would like to hand over to Erwin and ask him the question like, hey, if you're in a regulated industry, what can we do to move fast and to build fast without losing control? So maybe Erwin to unmute. And
yes,
hope feeling okay. He's a bit having a hay fever, so be kind with him.
sorry for that. Thank you, Mark. You're right. AI is moving extremely fast at the moment, and the problem with the regulated business is that you need to be sure that everything what you do in the business that is provable, it's traceable, and is accountable. And that's always the problem in these industries. I face it unfortunately myself. I'm coming from the last 5 years in the crypto companies, a CTO, where the market when I started was not regulated, and the market became regulated with all kind of issues because not everything we did was traceable and provable. On one hand, you need to innovate fast, but there's always a regulation on top of that that you need to do on strict regulated frameworks. And I know that I struggled a lot with that, but I also see a lot of companies that are difficult to find the balance between those two. So if you look to the next slide, yeah. What I had, for example, in my own company is that I did not have, or I had solid teams, so siloed teams that and siloed pipelines. So there were no good audit trails. There was no model versioning control, and we had a huge compliance team because we needed to apply for our licenses. But the problem was that applying for the licenses mean also a lot of changes in your software. And if the team is not connected to your development team, so the compliance team not connected, then it's really difficult to get things to change things. So it's basically not built for scale. The foundation is mostly not good. Same goes for AI. It doesn't matter what you develop on top of it. If the foundation is not good, you have an issue with scaling, but you also have an issue on innovation. So if you can go to the next slide, Mark. So why break things and how to solve this? What we always do is that we make sure that we build immutable audit trails. Make sure that every action and every change and every update is logged. Make sure that you have a transparent CI/CD pipeline. And within this pipeline, you need to build in checkpoints. You need to know what's going on there, and you need approvals. Next to that, you need a modular architecture so you can isolate risks and iterate safely. That's extremely important if you want to have speed. And next to that, the fourth one is real-time monitoring. You need to know what's going on your system. You need to know if your model is changing. You need to be in control of everything that's happening. Also, regulators demand these kind of things nowadays. And something that I learned from the crypto market is you need to think security by design. If you don't, then basically you're a target everywhere. And I've got a really interesting thing that I found what I used in my former company. So Mark, if you can go to the next slide. And this is an overview. In the company we made everything in the end loggable. We had licenses in multiple countries, and everything we did on the whole system was tracked. This is one part of the tracking mechanism that we used to see what was going on regarding to security on our platform. And what you can see here, that this is an overview for 1 week, and we had 712 highs only in that week, meaning that we were knowing everything what was going on in that system. And to make sure that you have an auditable system, you need to focus also on these kind of things. You need to know what's going on. So if you go to the next slide, Mark. Or a process, make sure that you have an auditable infrastructure that should be the foundation. You need to be AI ready architecture from day one. Your compliance and your security driven team approach needs to be there from day one. And next to that, you blend your teams. Make sure that the engineering knows about compliance, that they know about security. And you need to build frameworks that can scale. If you don't have this foundation, then you can't scale, and you will not be AI ready. And this is something at Createch that we're breeding. We're starting with this from the start.
Hey, thank you very much, Erwin, for this nice view and insights as a former CTO of this crypto company. I leave you alone now with your hay fever. Thanks for
Sorry.
doing it anyway. And I would like to give a quick intro with a poll. We're just kicking off the poll here. We're asking what is the biggest blocker to your company's long-term growth? It's also a question we are asking in the survey in terms of the IT department. Where do you see is the blocker? And if you add this to the stream, we can also see how people are answering to it. So please feel free to answer and to give an insight where you stand. It's running more in the background, but the moment we see like compliance, stuck in maintenance is currently distributed 50-50. It will be definitely more coming, so feel free to do that. While you're voting, I go back to what I showed before with this application, which was just one prompt. And now you see I have an application where I can actually look for, okay, give me all the projects, give me the dashboard of the tasks I have. And if I have here the tasks, I can even interagate with this board. I have a timeline, I have dummy data in it. So it was pretty much built in 5 minutes. And of course, it's not perfect, but I can now even update it with smart, like make a toggle button to switch light dark mode. And it does the things I'm telling it. And I also fix the stuff which I don't have. And I think this is just super impressive. It's one tool out of many, but this is not making it easier to have the situation that there is so much things ongoing. So I can quickly publish it, and then you see also that this button is definitely there. And I would move on now to the next slide, where we introduce our readiness score. So what we did, we find there's 15 core principles in the pre-study. And with these core principles, we always were asking, what is your challenge? How did you solve it? And to summarize this very quickly, it's about the strategy and leadership, where it's basically covered the why. So why are you moving? It's the question about, have you got a clarity in where you're moving to? Have you got a North Star? Have you got a risk alignment? Do you already embed compliance in the beginning? Then it moves over to empower the who, the people, the talent. So do you have a ownership culture? Do you have a rhythm? Do you have a rapid decision loop? But then it goes to HI software delivery. So have you got a process which is making sure the compliance is integrated? Have you got a clear roles? Have you got a DevOps process which is super fast? Can you ship on a weekly base a marketable product? Do you know how to build the tech stack? So is the cybersecurity zero trust architecture built in? Do you have a scalability, modularization? Do you have composability at its core? Have you got an auditable infrastructure, as Erwin just mentioned? And then last but not least, the data and decision layer, which goes to compliance, which goes to performance management. Do you really understand the data? Do you use it in daily decision basis? And then last but not least, the continuous improvement of what you have. So these topics are covered, but now a quick summary of how it works. So if you scan the QR code, you can see that that survey starting. What it happened? So we have done this pre-study with 84 companies in the regulated space. We added to this model the latest research. I showed you the list, and we are asking then, if someone adds a survey answer, can you please combine this in our reg model, analyze and give back the feedback not only from OpenAI, but also combined with the learned and trained LLM, and including the data we have. On top, we have analyzed 20,000 fast-moving organizations, which we are inviting for this survey. We analyze like which company has IT departments which are growing. In combination, which companies have a headcount growth over the last 6, 12, 24 months. So we are defining this with the numbers we have as growing. And then we analyzed these companies. Okay, what do they do? How do they compare? How do they are regulated or not? And we are inviting them to participate. So in the end, we have the result that every input which gets also trained the model becomes smarter and smarter. So if you try today, you will get an email later on. It takes a few minutes where you have a personalized recommendation, like where you stand, what could you do better, and get an insight which is going to be better over time. So don't expect too much right now, but hopefully after like 2 months, when we are conducting this data collection phase, we're really happy to do the research and finally publish the results. So we are super happy to have this leading university as University St. Gallen, ETH Zurich, and OST included as a partner, as a collaborator, especially with StudyOn, which is like the flagship project of this platform. So we are happy that we can announce this. So now, last but not least, I show you if it worked with the toggle button. Let's see if it works. Yeah, you see that's very quickly done, which usually takes definitely more than 5 minutes. But here we see also the possibility to go in dark mode and light mode. Hey, I'm publishing also this right now. We have it live, so we can share it. And I close this with the last poll with the question like, how confident are you in your organization with your AI strategy? Once we have some results, we have a little bit of time left to ask questions if there are any. Feel free to get some questions to the experts we have here in the round. Okay. So I get back to the people here. And showing the polls. Okay. We have 75% is still experimenting. No real execution or real actionable results, and we have a bold vision, and we are moving fast. That's 40%. It's still moving, but yeah, okay, it's good to see. You also see the final results in a bit when you watch the recording. Hey, for now, thanks for watching, and now we are having time for questions if there are any, and maybe if we can then conclude, just moving back to everybody is on the stage. So here we are.
You can type your questions into the chat if you want, or you can, and we'll pick them up from there. I believe there's a general mute in place, so we cannot talk here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hey, but otherwise, if you don't have any questions coming up, Philip, one for you. What about the final result? Do you have a plan to publicly like make it for free and everybody can access? I think it's an important information that we're not earning money on this research project. Can you maybe say a sentence to that one?
Yes, absolutely. So yes, as we are collaborating with universities and other companies, and most importantly with yourselves, we want to make sure you are getting the results first, so you have a head start, and then a few weeks after we'll make it openly available. It is also an option, or you are welcome to invite your colleagues, so it's not only you, can also be your peers from other organizations to participate to it. So that would allow us to increase the number of data sets. We already have quite a large number of data received from those universities and other companies, but we will need more to get it really specific for your own, to reflect your own business, so that you can benchmark yourselves within that AI readiness study.
And there's one question from Nico. He's asking, building a prototype with Lobel is one thing, but how do you see the sustainability and scalability of such tools going forward? Hey, I think this is really the right question, which I'm answering here with the study. That's why also one of the reasons why we are doing this, like what actually makes it easier and faster, but also touches the Erwin's input. So quick summary, what I would say, it's a long answer. The short one is, at the moment, everybody is stuck in those
use cases, and some of them got deployed and some of them are really in place. But what currently is the problem that there is not an underlying framework with a auditable infrastructure, with a proper setup, like a let's say a framework which is really allowing this speed with these new tools, and also making sure that the systems don't break, and still the privacy and security is given. But maybe, Erwin, you have an addition to that question from your regulated point of view with the experience as a CTO.
My biggest concern is the security on these things. That's my biggest concern. How to handle that. It will scale, but scalability depending on what size, but especially on the cybersecurity part. And then you come back again. You need to make sure that it's loggable, that you have all insights on what is created.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, and there is another question. There seem to be a lot of point solutions, AI apps coming out. Do you already see AI native platforms coming up to take an end-to-end process perspective? Yes, we see some. It's far from complete, but we see the initiatives that they are coming, those enterprise RECs, or let's say enterprise agentic systems. One partner of ours, Squiro, which is also part of the study, is in this space, but there is definitely an underlying initiative coming, which is not only use case by use case, which takes it more from the bottom up and having really an end-to-end process. So I don't have to do advertisements for those platforms, but they are coming up as well, and usually it's quite of an investment to integrate.
Hey Mark, there are a few other questions, but let me pick one more of those, which I believe is very important and actually hitting the nail. Do we believe that software generated by AI can be error-free, and how can we mitigate the few errors, because there seems to be no software that is 100% error-free? And this is absolutely right. And we have actually tested that with a client. We automated the creation of the code, and we implemented in the process a QA at the end. We also started first with a manual QA, then we increased the automation effect of that QA, also using automation mechanisms and AI to do that. But we saw that we cannot go to 100%. You always need a human person at the end to verify that the software is exactly doing what you wanted to do. Why? Because it starts with the requirement definition. So what you enter is being generated, and it may not 100% fit because the machine does not know the complete outcome that needs to be delivered. So we tested that with a very large retailer that we are supporting, and we saw there that it still requires a manual aspect of quality assurance, even so if the rest is being created and defined by high amount of AI support.
And I mean, for this, I think there is a comment from Christian as well, who says AI has the ability to create software, but it's technically error-free. But the problem lies more in the inability of humans. So this is maybe another point of it. Yeah. And then also the questions, what recommendations there are to avoid the human error. I think, Philip, you pointed just out a few things, Erwin as well. But I think the key message here is it's usually not that the control or the, let's say, product management skills are less required. It's definitely a setup where the skill set is becoming more and more important. And when we look at the current development of those IDEs which integrate AI at its core, like Cursor or also GitHub Copilot, then you see it's usually not like the lovable approach that you just prompt and you got the results without really checking in and comparing what exactly do you change. So I think this is the key question. How do you balance those automations, those auto completion with the control and the effect that you can still make sure that what you deploy is going to be reviewed and also traceable. Okay, we have a last question from Nico, what's the effect of AI on total development cost to date? Do you see efficiency increase already? What erode the cost of software development? When we also have our internal kind of experiences, that's not a study which is like significant. We see that once you're getting up and running, it's in the range of 20 to 40% at the moment, but we have studies from McKinsey which say it's for 40 to 60%. I don't know if you want to add here anything, because I think it's really project specific. We're currently having AI refactoring projects, and this is like very specific to see like where you come from. Is it COBOL? Is it another old language which needs to be translated to Java? And you get help of be more productive if you trained LLM to do this faster and more efficient over time. But I think it's a kind of a marketing speech now to really say it's usually 40 to 60%. It really depends.
To be honest, I would myself always have a last check by a human to see what's created, just to be sure that what's created is good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I would not take the risk trusting this completely. I think never, but maybe that's me.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely, yeah. So because we produce it still for human beings, not software from machines. So
exactly.
This is what we also see with our clients. This is really that is where we make a difference, and we can use that type of tools to be more efficient, but it's not replacing at the moment. That there are even reports out there from companies that have tried even more and they're reverting back. So it will be a balance as always. It will not be 100%. It will not be 0%. It will be a balance, probably depending on the industry, on a different level. And you pointed it out, more controlled, more compliant environments may need more mechanisms there till they're able to automate that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think we can conclude with this comment from Christian here, that they see cost moving rather than eroding. And we don't have this perspective. We see that you really save cost over the time. But yes, the profiles are getting more expensive, and the talents and experts is not that I see that the people are becoming cheaper. That's definitely not the case here in Europe.
All right. Hey, thanks a lot, Mark. Thanks a lot, Erwin. Dear audience, I hope it was insightful. As said, please get the link. He will also share that with you after this webinar and participate to the study. You will see it's going to be quite a rich document that you will receive at the end. I wish you a wonderful day. See you soon, and bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.